Hi and welcome to the Booklab. I'm Björn, and this is the time of the month when we look at the upcoming nonfiction releases, the most exciting nonfiction releases for September. Things are starting to heat up, and I think we'll get even better and better as we go towards the holiday season. I have a few books on the list. I think it's 4, and I'm going to jump right into it. The first book is Anointed, The Extraordinary Effects of Social Status in a Winner Takes Most World. It's by Toby, Stuart, and it's out on September 2nd. A leading organizational theorist takes us deep into the realm of humanity's most powerful, invisible force, social status, and how it shapes everything from who we trust to what we value to which ideas and innovations change the world and who gets credit for their success. I thought about this the other week when I went to a wedding. There was this person that is quite famous that was holding the wedding. And for as much as I don't want to identify as someone who cares about social status, this person really stood out. Everyone noticed when that person walked into the room. So it's a really interesting phenomena with social status and the kind of the halo effect. So that's why I wanted to put this book on the list. This book promises to give compelling examples through diverse areas like economics, fashion, art, everywhere, and show how social status and this phenomena creates winners and losers in our world. This is a book that I wouldn't mind reading, not one bit. But let's jump into the next book. This one is by Berners-Lee. This is for everyone. The Unfinished Story of the World Wide Web. It's out on September 9th. This book is a memoir from the creator of www, the World Wide Web, Internet. Tim Berners-Lee, he was a British scientist. He invented the World Wide Web in 1989, if I remember correctly, working for something called CERN. The concept of the web was originally developed as a communication tool for scientists in different universities and institutions around the world. Quote, born in the same year as Steve Jobs and Bill Gates, he famously distributed his invention, the World Wide Web, for no commercial reward at all. Its widespread adoption changed everything, transforming humanity to the first digital species. The book promises to be an intimate memoir talking about how his inventions spread creativity and collaboration, while also imperial truth and privacy in many ways on the other side of the coin. The guy is supposed to be quite humorous and funny, and I would love to hear these anecdotes. The story of the internet, how it came about, that's something I want to read more about. It's a fascinating invention, and I'm happy that I lived through it, even though I don't know the details. I'm very interested into diving in deeper into this topic. And speaking of disruptive technologies, we have another book about exactly that. Epic Disruptions, 11 Innovations That Shaped Our Modern World by Scott Anthony. It's out on September 16th. A kaleidoscopic look at how 11 disruptive innovations, including the iPhone, transistor, disposable diapers, and Julia Child's The Art of French Cooking, reshaped industries and societies, propelling humanity toward new frontiers. If you've been following this channel, you know I've been very interested in disruption and technologies recently. I've been reading up on energy and electricity, and that's one hell of a disruptive technology in energy and civilization. We have talked earlier this year about Bitcoin and its possible the possible monetary disruption that it represents. I'm also currently reading another book. Oh, here it is. The Structure of Scientific Revolutions by philosopher Thomas Kuhn. Which talks about paradigm shifts. And all of this is because I want to be able to better recognize disruption when it happens, because we live in an age of disruptions. Disruptions happening here, there, everywhere, and I think maybe if you can learn about the history of disruption and how it comes about, maybe it's a little easier to spot where we're heading in the future. From gunpowder to generative AI, the forces of disruptions are repeatedly rewriting the rules of business, society, and human possibility. But what really drives these revolutionary changes? In Epic Disruptions, innovation expert Anthony Scott masterfully weaves together the fascinating stories behind the world's most transformative disruptions, shining light on 11 pivotal changes that just made what it means to be human different. So this book is on my list for obvious reasons. The last book on the list is by Steven Pinker. It's When Everyone Knows That Everyone Knows: Common Knowledge and the Mysteries of Money, Power and Everyday Life. It's published on September 23rd, and I quote, Steven Pinker explains how we think about each other's thoughts about each other's thoughts ad infinitum. It sounds impossible, but Steven Pinker shows us that we do it all the time. This awareness, which we experience as the public or out there, is called common knowledge, and it has a momentous impact on social, political, and economic lives. I've read Steven Pinker before. One of the first books I actually read when I started reading nonfiction was his book. I'll bring it over here. The Better Angels of Our Nature, Why Violence Has Declined. I really found that book fascinating. I know there has been some criticism towards it because of cherry-picking examples, but I remember reading it and being just spellbound by it. So I wanted to highlight his new book here. Steven Pinker shows how the hidden logic of common knowledge can make sense of many of life's enigmas. Financial bubbles, crashes, revolutions that come out of nowhere, along with the way he answers questions like, why do people hoard toilet paper at the first sign of an emergency? We all saw that during the outbreak of COVID. Why are Super Bowl ads filled with ads for crypto? Why in American presidential primary votings do citizens typically select the candidate that they believe is preferred by others rather than their own favorite? Why did Russian authorities arrest protesters carrying a blank sign? I think I have a thesis for that one. Why it's so hard for nervous lovers to say goodbye at the end of a phone call. Quote, constantly riveting in explaining the paradoxes of human behavior when everyone knows that everyone knows invites us to understand the way we try to get into each other's heads and the harmonies, hypocrisies, and outrages that result. So that's the last book on the list. It's quite a quick list this week. And I'm happy to be back again after summer. Got a review out of Lolita yesterday, so check that one out if you haven't heard about that book before. It's disturbing, but it's also worthwhile, and I tell you in the video why it's interesting for people who typically read non-fiction books that are interested in psychology. Lolita is a deeply psychological book. Pick of the month. I need to have one, and I have decided and planned which one I want to pick, and it's gonna be This Is for Everyone, The Unfinished Story of the World Wide Web. This is a memoir. I'm due for a memoir. I want to really know more about the origins of the internet as it becomes more ambiguous and just everywhere, and we're so fully entrenched in this communication technology. It's nice to go back to the roots and just know how it came about. So that's my pick of the month. Let me know which one you would pick, and see you in a couple of days with the next video. It's going to be Atlas Shrugged, this epic, thick classic by Ayn Rand. So I'm going to talk a lot about that. And it's also non-fiction book. Yeah, it's a fiction book. So why do I cover it here on the channel? Well, it has value for people who want to understand a thing or two about socialism, capitalism, human nature. So that's why we highlight that book. Happy reading, everyone, and see you in a bit. Björn out.